If you're watching this video, you've actually already purchased this from us. I'm William Bissett from the Brilin Functional Medicine Centre, and I want to congratulate you on your recent purchase. Now, we've been dealing with this technology since 2009, and I have to say we've done huge amounts of due diligence on this type of technology, and nothing that we can find comes even close to what this can perform. This is 190 watts. The purity of the signal that it produces is phenomenal. We have oscilloscopes with expensive oscilloscopes. We've tested the purity of the signal and it's phenomenal. It's accurate to 2 decimal points. It can do 8 frequencies simultaneously. You can alter this to change the structure of multiple frequencies, the type of frequencies, the way it's carried, even into this system here, the amplifier. You can alter the carrier frequency, and it's 190 watts. That is phenomenal. So as far as this technology is concerned, you've already purchased it. You've already gone away. You've done your own due diligence. You come to us. You've made a decision to buy it. And I just want to basically give you the reassurance that is, in terms of this technology is concerned, I think you've made a really good decision. Now, as a disclaimer, and I've already covered this disclaimer with you already, but I'm going to repeat it. Obviously, for legal reasons, we cannot make any claims whatsoever in terms of this being a medical treatment, a medical diagnosis. It doesn't cure anything, is our position. I do believe it has a gentle, positive influence, but I'll just leave it there. You've done your research. You know what these type of technologies are capable of. Now, I'm going to go through the setup, how to wire it up safely and how to use it. But there's a few little points I want to make sure that you understand. Firstly, remember, if you have a pacemaker, do not use it. So if you've got friends coming around and you're using this, make sure they don't have a pacemaker, okay? And make sure that you're aware of any contraindications which we would have already given to you. So the whole setup is this is the GB4000. I haven't wired anything up yet. This is what produces the actual frequency itself. And this frequency comes out of the B and C socket here, and it's wired into the back of this machine, and this amplifies the signal, and the signal is then broadcast out of this light bulb. And where I want you to be really careful is this knob here determines the output power, so it alters the power of this, so it alters the power which comes out of here. Now, what we don't want to do is have the power up too much. The more you turn this up, the more it's going to influence this needle. So we don't want to turn this up too high and have the needle too high. We don't want this over 200. I'll show it operating later. If you have this too high all the time and the needle's way too high, you can burn out the inner tube and the light bulb faster. And we don't want that to happen. These bulbs should last thousands of hours. In fact, we've got bulbs that have been operating for thousands of hours, no worries. But we're very careful when we first activate the machine. We always have it at roughly 12 o'clock. And then once it's going, we just gently turn that clockwise to get the needle up to between 180 and just a bit under 200. And that is very powerful still. And that means you're not going to burn out the bulbs or the tubes inside. So just be mindful of that. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the insides and what you may need to do. So on both sides of the MOPA we have 2 screws to remove, so we've got 4 screws to remove, and then lift the lid off. Once we remove the lid, we want to install the vacuum tube. And you'll notice with the vacuum tube that it has 4 prongs, and 2 of the prongs are fatter than the other 2. And simply line that up and click that in firmly. Now notice I'm wearing a glove, or maybe you use a cloth. Try not to get your fingerprints on that. And there's another cable which clips on the top. And that's it. And then just put the lid back on. You notice when you put the lid back on that there's these little pins here. When you put the lid back in, make sure the little pins are on the inside here. What we don't want to do is have the pins come on the outside and you scratch the outside here. So I'm going to show you how to plug the GB4000 into the MOPA. But before we carry on, just make sure that you don't power anything up until everything is 100% installed. So we've got the cable which plugs into the back of the MOPA. That's the power cable there. Now there's two of these. These are the power supplies for the GB4000. And I've got one plugged in already. There's two of them that plugs in. Doesn't matter which way around you get it. And I'll plug this in soon. And then we've got the B and C cable, which plugs, push it in and turn. Push in and turn. So this is, this here, the signal's coming out through here into here. So now I'm ready to plug the bulb in. And now we have the plasma bulb on top here, and we simply plug the red into the red and the black in the black, very obvious. What we don't want to do is have this dangle all over the place. This can act as an antenna, and it's best just to keep that all nice and rolled up. In fact, I'm going to show you a little bit later that, how to make sure that you don't have cables all over the place, because they can act as antennas. Now, many years ago we were wondering, why are we burning through these, like one a month would be burning through these. And it was because we just let this cable go anywhere. You actually have to roll all this up and install your system nice and neatly, and I'll go through that later. So pretty much we're all ready to go on now. I've got everything plugged in. I'm going to access the power. Now, the first thing you do is turn the MOPA on first. So whenever you're using this system, always turn the MOPA on first and then off first. So I'm going to turn it on. And you need to give it a good sort of 4 or 5 minutes to warm up, especially for the first time. Once it's warmed up, I'm going to show you how to actually tune this machine. Now, when we first use this system, we need to tune the carrier frequency. Now, most sessions are 3.100, and I'll show you how to change that. The first things you need to do is you need to activate these two buttons here. And of course, in America, up is on. And you'll notice that the plasma bulb is illuminated, and you notice that this here has gone to roughly 200. Sometimes it might be slightly under, slightly over. If this goes closer to 150, the tube inside might need replacing. And now we're able to use this dial here to change this to 3.100. Now see, it's 3.5 at the moment, so I'm just going to start turning it down. It's always going to move a little bit, that's okay. So there's 3.100 there. Now that we've actually set the carrier frequency, we can now turn those switches back off and continue to use it for a session. But before I switch them off, this dial here can change the carrier frequency. Now, in some sessions that you might research, it might say set the carrier frequency to something different to 3.100, and this is how you do it. You turn these two switches on, the light illuminates, and you change this. Now I've set it, I'm ready to begin a session, so I'm going to turn these switches off, and now I can activate the frequencies from this machine. So we're now ready to begin a session, and I want to do a liver protocol. And I know liver is 456, that's the channel that it's already pre-programmed in. But before I begin, I make sure that this is set to 12 o'clock. I make sure that I have the correct mode. Now there's RF mode, which is radio frequency, or audio mode. Most protocols are audio mode. So if I press that once, I can see audio mode. If I press it twice, I change it to RF mode. So I need to press it twice again to put it back to audio mode. Now this is how simple it is. Once it's in audio mode, it should stay there. All I need to do is press auto channel, which means what channel do you want to perform? And I know that liver, which in theory is supposed to support liver, 4, 5, 6, run. Now we've got to allow 10 to 20 seconds for this to communicate with this. And so we're going to see a bit of a blip, to begin with. There we are. And the needle's quite low. So now I turn this up gently and then slowly. And I'm just going to start it off about there. As it warms up, it might go up a little bit further. That is very powerful. I don't need to go any higher than, say, 180. Here, that we're in channel 456, G1. Now, G means group. So this can handle 8 frequencies at a time, and each channel can have 6 groups. So 6 times 8 is 48. So you can actually have 48 frequencies in one session if you choose to. So if this was G6, it means each group is going to automatically do 5 minutes. This is the timer here, it's on square wave. And so when this counts down, this will actually finish. This is actually only a 5-minute protocol. But let's say, for example, I push the clear button. I'll press auto channel 1500 is where I do customized for clients. Press run. Change it to RF mode. Auto channel 1500. Run. Now what we can see is G6, which means there's 6 groups of frequencies. And so when this here goes down to 000, this will then change to G5. And then it's another 5 minutes. And when that 5 minutes up, it goes down to G5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and so on. If you want to group, let's put that back to audio mode. Let's say I want to do multiple protocols. So let's say I want to do a detox. So I'll press auto channel 202. But I want to have another channel that comes in after this. So I press the plus mod button, which means I can add another channel. Let's say 203. And now I want to add in the liver. So I'll press another one, 4, 5, 6. Run. And so there's 2 groups in 202. So when this counts down to 5 minutes, it's going to go to G1. And then when it goes down to another 5 minutes, it's going to beep and then go to 203. And I don't know how many is in 203, but when 203's finished, it's then going to go to 456. And just keep an eye on this, keep an eye on the needle, make sure you don't go over 200. If you need to pause it, you can press 5 for pause, 5 for unpause. It's very important that the GB4000 unit sits underneath the MOPA amplifier, not to the side of the amplifier, and especially not on top of the amplifier, or you will have issues. Make sure you coil all the cables up and tie them neatly together. Try not to have cables lying all over the place extended, otherwise they can act as an antenna and you run the risk of burning out your power supplies. Many people use a T-trolley and they have the GB4000 underneath, the MOPA on top, and then the plasma bulb at the very top.